Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on the sportstuff.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and Double Twist, and at some point very soon the Courtside Network with Wayne Hunt, Hank McCoy, Vince Germano, and of course Stu Benson, all part of that Courtside podcast, and of course the Courtside Network. They're getting that together, so yes, little early shout out, but yep. My predictions were on in terms of, well, the Wolves went 2-2, but flip-flop a couple games, I suppose. The New Orleans game with the Miami game. I thought it was going to be 2 wins, 2 losses because the Wolves tend to lose those back-to-back games. 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Squadron left, squadron fly, squadron left, squadron fly. And the Wolves needed more than a Hail Mary in that Miami game. Boy. Wolves had a couple of stinkers, but a couple of fun ones too. And a little help from the referees in terms of Anthony Davis in the New Orleans Pelicans game. Yeah, that was a little help from the refs, but I suppose no help from the refs with Karl Anthony Towns in most games. But yeah, I don't know. It's a combo platter. Let's get to the Miami game early. Karl Anthony Towns. Tom Thibodeau. Karl Anthony Towns. Which one do you hate more right now? Okay, I'm just kidding. Maybe you don't hate them, but you're getting frustrated? Just a little bit? Yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated with both of them. Black Friday. Ooh, the most overrated day of the year. Yes, it is. Unless you manage to get really lucky. But yeah, I don't know. Friday, November the 24th, 2017, the Timberwolves lost 109-97 to the Miami Heat in Target Center. Ruh-roh. Yeah, really, man? Really? Yeah. Yeah, that was really bad. It wasn't a very fun game. It kind of was similar to the game in Miami about a month ago or so. And this one just stayed bad, and it just stayed bad, and that's about all there is to it. Wayne Ellington, the other Wayno in Miami, the former Timberwolf late first-round pick and all that good stuff, all he did was shoot three-pointers, and he made 6 of 9 of them. Yeah, only 6 of 9 three-pointers. And he made his free throws that he was able to get as well along the way. Like 4-point play on one of them. Yeah, it's just it's not too bad. He had 21 points off the bench from Wayne Ellington. I keep trying to call him Wayne Hunt. I'm going crazy. Really, I mean, the perimeter defense in this game was, you fill in the blanks, and you probably could, with any swear word you can think of, any type of, well, whatever, just not pleasant word, go ahead and put it in there, and it'll fit really nicely. Oh, and by the way, Jeff Teague didn't play, and that didn't help either. Jeff Teague has had soreness in the Achilles tendon, and he did not play the entire week. That's right, did not play the entire week. Aaron Brooks was his first start of the season with the Timberwolves, and last start, probably because of the other guy from Duke, Tyus Jones, outplayed him the entire time. And this guy's been stealing basketballs. He can rebound, he can pass, and, I talked about Tyus Jones on the last show and how his statistics do not reflect his value to this team. I mean, it's like, yeah, you look at his numbers, they're not exciting at all, like 2.7 a game. Well, they've jumped up a bit the past week because, well, he played 32 and a half minutes anyway in the Miami game because Aaron Brooks, well, once you kind of saw what he's all about, he's just not that great. Okay, he had 1 3-point shot and he had a couple assists in the game, but he couldn't guard my great-grandmother, and we all know where she is right now. She's not living, you know what I mean? So he couldn't guard her probably. Yeah, and I'm not trying to make light of that, but it just stinks. Tyus Jones was the only plus player on the Timberwolves. Okay, Taj Gibson was as well, and he's been a glue guy. Karl Anthony Towns, minus 18. And, you want to say the plus-minus doesn't mean anything, but, it kind of does sometimes because, especially when you're playing most of the game and you're getting annihilated, minus 18, and you're supposed to be the best player on the team. Oh, and Aaron Brooks, too. How about this for reflective? And Shabazz Muhammad. Both of them, about 12 minutes. You average them out, 12 minutes, 11 for one, 13 for the other, right? Minus 15 for Aaron, and minus 14 for Shabazz Muhammad.
I mean, that's freaking awful.
Oh, yeah? Oh, really? Yeah, oh, really? Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Let that sink in. Well, that's what kind of game it was. Perimeter defense was yuck. The offense was, well, not that great. Yeah, the Wolves managed 97 points, and it was just a lackluster effort. The defense was awful. And yeah, Hassan Whiteside played this time, and that helped, and he just did what he needed to against Karl Anthony Towns. Only attempted 8 shots in the game, but he didn't have to because Wayne Ellington was making everything. Sorry. Kelly Olynyk made a couple threes. Deion Waiters was making them. Goran Dragic murdered us, too, throughout the night. Cutting to the lane and just goes catch and shoot threes, 5 of 8 from downtown. And that's pretty much all she wrote. They scorched us from the outside. I mean, what more do you have to say other than Tyus Jones had a good game? And okay, Carl's statistics were good. But, dude, do I have to say it again? Are you a point guard? I mean, are you a shooting guard or are you a center, Carl? Are you a power forward or are you a center? Or are you well, I don't care about the power. Are you a power forward or are you a shooting guard? He's just lounging out there beyond the three-point line most of the game, it seems like. I mean, what happened to the post game? It's just disappeared the whole week. I can talk about this the whole week. And when he does play the post game, he is freaking awesome. And he did that extensively in the Phoenix game. You see the franchise potential in Karl Anthony Towns, the David Robinson-like talent. Maybe some of you might say beyond David Robinson, but don't forget, David Robinson averaged 26 points a game for several years in his prime. Of course, his prime was cut short because he started his career late because he was a Navy veteran. He's a Navy man, the Navy man. That's why they call him the Admiral. So, again, yeah, his prime was cut a bit short because of that. And, of course, the broken foot leading to number 1 pick in the draft and getting Tim Duncan. That kind of helped the Spurs' fortunes and, took a couple touches, just a few away from David Robinson, I suppose. They had to share the rock a little bit. But a combination of things here with the Wolves is the defense. You're seeing defense out of Andrew Wiggins now. He's cutting passing lanes. He's starting to block shots. He's keeping up with guys, and he's creating misses. That's what you've been seeing out of Andrew Wiggins. You can kind of almost compare all these games together in a sense, but we'll wrap up the Miami game in a sense. But essentially, I am wrapping it up right now. We just stunk. It was just not the best game, and everybody knows it. But you're seeing Andrew Wiggins taking away passing lanes. You're seeing blocking shots and creating misses. If you know what that means. I hope you understand what I'm saying. He's creating misses. He's getting close enough to the guy that they're not putting up good shots, and he's getting a piece of the ball on occasion. And it's been encouraging. Offensively, though, Andrew Wiggins, again, this could go through every game. Now, he had some spectacular, exciting numbers and plays last night. Not last night, but against the New Orleans Pelicans on Wednesday night, pardon me. He showed moments. He showed moments against Washington as well. Some good plays. I mean, and when see both of them, you see Karl Anthony Towns just hanging out beyond the arc for long stretches. And that goes on the coach and the player, both. I'm not sure what's going on. It's like you're lacking identity. Shooting guard or center? Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Andrew Wiggins, are you a jump shooter who's not that good at it necessarily? Or are you going to be a slasher and be a franchise type of guy that way? Because Andrew Wiggins is a franchise level. To me, he's a franchise level swingman when he drives to that basket. And he could just make a couple more free throws. It'd be very helpful. Very helpful indeed if he did. Karl Anthony Towns, he could be an above average stretch 4, just an above average guy, maybe slightly above average. If he just parks around that 3-point line most of the game and watches the play, watches Andrew Wiggins and Jimmy Butler do whatever they're going to do, hoping for someone to kick the ball out to him, and he'll shoot 37% from beyond the arc, which is okay, but it's not what we really were bargaining for with Karl Anthony Towns. Or he could go down low and do his post moves and face up to somebody. And there you go. There's your franchise center. Without a doubt, he's a franchise center when he does that. We need identity here. We have an identity crisis in the Target Center and just in Minnesota Timberwolves right now with 2 of our best players. And, you could say the same thing with Jimmy Butler at times. But he's got that team captain role. His shooting percentage has just been balls most of the season. Pretty good, though. Sunday against Phoenix, the 26th of November. Of course, no Vikings game because the Vikings had defeated the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day. That was wonderful. And who the hell is Mike James, by the way? 26 points off the bench. Oh, that guy has been good against the Wolves in back-to-back games, against us anyway. Oh, frustrating. But the Wolves do put up a good effort, at least a better effort offensively. 119 to 108. You're seeing better offense. You're seeing more identity offensively. Defensively, not so much. Tyus Jones looking like a solid starting point guard for the Timberwolves. His first career start. 9 points, 7 steals. Yeah, that's right. 7 steals. Steals. That's right. Not assists. But he did get 7 assists too. But 7 steals in the game. 2 blocks. Wow. Tyus, you're pretty good, aren't you? Pretty good player there out of Apple Valley, Minnesota. And, of course, a 1-year Dookie, which unfortunately led to him slipping in the draft a little bit because of that. Maybe if he stayed 1 more year, he might have gone even higher. But thank you for coming out early. And thank you, late great Flip Saunders, God rest his soul, for trading back into the first round to get him. Thank you, Tom Thibodeau, for keeping him and not including him in one of the trade packages. Thank God, But Tyus Jones, just an absolute beacon of hope for this team right now, amongst a bunch of frustrations. You're seeing lack of identity with Carl and Andrew at times. The defensive identity of Andrew Wiggins, though, is there, and I appreciate it. Offensively, though, again, stop selling for those, what the hell are they, jump shots, long 2-pointers. Just knock it the hell off already. 3-point shots adequate, of course, very good in this game. 4 of 6 from beyond the arc from Andrew Wiggins, and we appreciate that. And you're seeing the multifacets starting to show up. Again, a steal and a block, 5 rebounds, 4 assists in the game. An overall very solid stat-filling night for Andrew Wiggins. Karl Anthony Towns, there it is. He played more down low. He faced up a bit more. He did shoot 6 3-pointers, which is way too excessive already. Come on. 32 points, though, from Karl Anthony Towns, and another double-double for him and his down-low buddy, Taj Gibson, who continues to show what a spark plug, what a glue guy he truly is. He's able to get those offensive rebounds. He had 7 of them in the game. Karl had 5 to his credit. But those putbacks by Taj Gibson and his ability to be a wonderful force down low, putting the ball in with authority time and time again, did Taj Gibson throughout the week, but another double-double. And Taj Gibson's value really starting to sparkle like it has most of the season, pardon me. Gorgie Zhang, double digits off the bench. There you go, a Gorgie, who unfortunately got the Johnny Flynn Memorial last week. Looking like a different player most of this week. He had a 1-point game against the Wizards, but he had some strong ones against Miami, strong against the Phoenix Suns. And like I mentioned, he needed to be good for the Wolves to beat the New Orleans Pelicans. It did help that a guy by the name of Anthony Davis got ejected from the game in the second quarter. But hey, Gorgie Zhang, huge, strong performance, 19 points off the bench against the New Orleans Pelicans. And that was part of the reason the Wolves won the game. Part of the reason, because DeMarcus Cousins has always manhandled Karl Anthony Towns to this date, unfortunately. But the Phoenix game in general, the Wolves were kind of like the Miami Heat, and they brought the same defense pretty much, for the most part, that they brought against the Heat, but they had the offense of the Miami Heat in this one, where they were scorching the net. So you can kind of put that together if you'd like. Let's continue very quickly here to the Washington Wizards game. Looked ever so promising. The Wolves were scorching this team. In the first half, they were doing so well. You were seeing solid plays. You were still seeing a lot of the same lack of identity, and that even goes into the New Orleans game. The same stuff, same nonsense. Again, that's why you could almost pair all the games together. But just the way this team, it's almost like they stopped playing in the second half. Now, Karl was rebounding the ball like a madman, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And Jimmy Butler had 10 assists in the game. That was great. Tyus continuing to look like a starter. 7 assists again, adding 4 more rebounds along the way. Only 1 steal in this one, but Gorgie, yeah, very quiet performance. The Wolves could have used a little help there, but overall, not a good game for most of the guys out there. Andrew Wiggins only made 1/3 of his shots. It just settling for too many weak jump shots, and he wasn't hitting from beyond the arc either. 1 of 5. Just a frustrating, lackluster performance, and the Wolves never play this team well, and I don't know what it is. Just an awful second half and a yucky finish to the fourth quarter. Couldn't make anything, and like I somehow, some way magically predicted that Otto Porter would hit the game-winning shot, and he did. And he made half of his threes, and he led the Washington Wizards in scoring. Oh, and by the way, who's this point guard, Tim Frazier? That ain't John Wall. Yeah, the Wolves lost to the Wizards without John Wall.
What?
So yeah, all is right with the world. Yeah, all is right with the Wolves too. Well, Lack identity. I mean, this game was the perfect example of lacking identity. I mean, just passing lanes were taken away, ill-advised passes in general. Dodge Gibson continues to be that solid guy. I mean, that's the guy who's been Mr. Consistency throughout the year. But again, that one beacon of hope is that how well Tyus Jones has been playing as well. The Wolves ultimately went up with only 89 points, 18 in the fourth quarter, a mere 38 in the second half to the Wizards, 49. The Wizards just outplayed the Wolves down the stretch after a good start for the Timber Pups. The third and fourth quarter have been horrible. The Wolves, leading into the Phoenix game, by the way, were a minus 15 in the fourth quarter through the first 20 games of the season here. Just unbelievable. Minus 15 for the fourth quarter into the season. That's how awful the fourth has been for this well-improving club, this playoff type of team. So, I mean, that's a huge reason why this club lost. Of course, Scott hitting clutch shots along the way as well. Otto Porter didn't hit a 3 to win the game, but he hit a 2. That was the big dagger. This freaking Mike Scott as well couldn't, he was just, the 1 3 he made was the biggest shot of the game, you could argue, at least tied the game up. And then next thing you know, Otto Porter helps steal the game away from the Wolves in the target center. But again, the fourth quarter has been the Wolves' Achilles tendon, and it's just leaving you at a loss. It's leaving the Wolves at a loss and with losses as well, if that is somewhat making any sense. Devastating. Boy. So let's just move on to the New Orleans game if we can. Wolves win 120-102. Again, Anthony Davis ejected in the second quarter. Thank you very much. He was getting extremely frustrated. And throughout the night against the Washington Wizards, yes, Karl Anthony Towns was fouled time and time again. He was getting very frustrated. The fan base was getting frustrated. Of course, Tom Thibodeau as well. Everybody's flipping out at the referees and calls aren't getting made. But eventually, it's kind of like you got to man up and, realize they're not calling tonight. So man up, maybe get physical on the other end and hope to God they don't blow the whistle on you. I guess just play that way and adjust. Sometimes you got to adjust and prepare, adjust to how things are being called. I mean, unfortunately, it's annoying, and I know it happens in baseball all the time. The strike zone gets shrank, and the strike zone explodes. It shrinks, explodes. Different umpire, different day, different pitcher, different everything. Sometimes it's different with different batters even because of the respect level and all that. But in overall, frustrating week for Karl Anthony Towns. He had some good statistics, but it's not all about stats. There is the eye test and there's the lack of identity. And Karl, again, another frustrating game. He was getting a lot of calls going his way and against him as well between him and Anthony Davis. Karl nearly fouled out of the game with 5 along the way. Only managed about 21 minutes in the game because of that. Him and Dorcas Cousins and, of course, Anthony Davis flipping out because he was not getting any calls on the other end, in his opinion. Still managed to get 17 points in less than 18 minutes. Just insane. It just tells you how tough this game could have been had Anthony Davis remained out there. Just an overall scary thought there, but the Wolves luckily pull away after that, and they did their job, quite frankly. Managed to score like crazy in the second, third, and fourth quarters along the way with Anthony Davis leaving. The Wolves quickly took advantage, ended up winning the game by 18. I bet Anthony Davis probably broke a couple things in the locker room. Andrew Wiggins had a huge, strong overall game, hitting from the outside and ultimately winding up at 28 points and 8 rebounds. Fun to watch. Nice to see Wiggins with that nice motion on his shot, and he did make more than half finally, and of course added 5 assists along the way. And again, that strong, solid man on defense that wasn't there before. You're starting to see Andrew Wiggins be where he needs to be defensively, and that's what's extremely encouraging when you talk Andrew Wiggins defensively. You saw it out of Karl Anthony Towns just a couple weeks ago. You saw him being very aggressive, forcing misses, coming over, blocking shots like crazy, and it went away. And why is that? I have no idea. And the disconnect between him and Tom Thibodeau is noted. Everybody's seeing it, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Is it a personality clash? Generational divide? Well, Andrew Wiggins and Jimmy Butler seem to be doing okay because looks like Wiggins is catching on, and he's finally getting there. at least showing significant strides towards it. He's certainly not perfect, and nobody's perfect out there. Butler, obviously the captain defensively and captain on most most nights out there, the overall leader of the club. And yes, it helps a great deal. He's like the quote-unquote translator from Tom Thibodeau. The translation has met some snags, though, unfortunately, and it's certainly happening with Karl Anthony Towns right now. Overall, it's been a tough week. Again, despite some solid statistics, still managed to get a double-double with only 21 minutes, but 6 turnovers, was getting the ball knocked out of his hands about 1 trillion times. Gorgui Dieng, though, just an awesome game, and again, taking advantage of Mr. Mr. Anthony Davis getting ejected, but also was playing well along the way, wound up with 19 points. He was playing well against Anthony Davis and was getting calls against him as well. 4 steals for Gorgui Dieng, the 6 rebounds, and even added 5 assists. Some really nice passes to cutters and open threes as well. Just an overall fun night for the Wolves, and thank you for the referees being on our side a little bit. Yeah, getting under Anthony Davis's skin. The guy, I never saw him flip out like that. It was crazy. It was actually the first time Anthony Davis has ever been ejected from a game, too. Just didn't see that coming, but it came, and thank you. Tyus Jones adding 4 more steals. Just, wow, Tyus Jones has been awesome. 16 points. Starting point guard for the Wolves. 6 of 9 from the floor. 2 of them three-pointers. 2 of 3 three-pointers for Tyus Jones against the New Orleans Pelicans. Oh, so that was a fun little game. I definitely appreciate what was brought, but again, the lack of identity is a huge problem, and that is what absolutely is the theme of the show. Lack of identity crisis, whatever you want to call it. It's there. And what's Tom Thibodeau's identity? Defense, right? Well, it's there some nights, and it goes away, and it comes back, and it goes away, and it's this guy, and it's that guy, and it's that guy, and it's this guy. And then this guy's driving, and this guy's just settling for threes, and then it's the other way around, and you put them together, and you flip them around, and you have a house of cards that just tumbles down, and you lose the game. I don't know, man. Luckily, the Wolves are still above 500. They're still doing okay. You know, all right. 13-9. You can't get too scared. You can't panic. I know that. That's like no kidding. 22 games into the season. It's not the end of the world. But hopefully at some point you get that defensive force from Karl Anthony Towns and he can be focused more down low. I mean, what is this up top nonsense? I don't understand it. I don't understand this top of the key or over in the corner, whatever the heck it is. You're not a shooting guard. Tom Thibodeau, what are you doing with that one? I mean, I have no idea. And these ISOs for Andrew Wiggins where he just puts up these long twos. Again, what is going on here? Your answer is as good as mine. It's whatever it is, it's not working. That's the bottom line. It's not working. But luckily, there is enough talent on this roster that the Wolves still have a winning record at this point. So hopefully the two sides, players and coaches, can come together. And eventually this can be a 50-plus win team and be very dangerous come May. That would be absolutely wonderful. So the Alpha Wolf of the Week award will definitely go to Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is the Alpha Wolf. This is his first ever Alpha Wolf, and congratulations to him. Well deserved. The Johnny Flip Memorial is going to annoy some people out there. You're going to be like, what? Especially a lot of the youngsters that live here locally. Karl Anthony Towns is going to be the Johnny Flynn Memorial for this week because, again, he continues to get manhandled by the veteran big men, which, okay, sure, it's a learning process. He's only 22. Come on, slow down. But you can't say that forever. And, again, the other Johnny Flynn Memorial, there's going to be 2. It's going to go to Tom Thibodeau because he's doing nothing about it. I mean, he's encouraging this shooting guard nonsense, which I do not understand. He's encouraging the ISOs from Andrew Wiggins, which I do not understand. Do not understand it at all. It's nice that the Wolves wound up being 500 despite Jeff Teague being out because, again, Tyus Jones was the Alpha Wolf this week, without a doubt. Even the game he came off the bench against Miami, not in Miami, he was outstanding in that game as well, forcing turnovers, setting other players up, and hitting some threes. Tyus Jones looking like a very solid player in this league right now. There's no doubt about it. The guy deserves more minutes than he gets. Should he be starting over Jeff Teague? Probably not, but maybe on occasion. I don't even know where to go with it, but I don't know. Is he the Case Keenum of the Timberwolves? Or is he the Teddy Bridgewater? I don't know what he is. All I know is that he's a very worthy player. Now, I'm not one of the people who's just, Tyus Jones needs to be starting, he needs to be this. He's just, oh my God, Tyus. But his value is obvious. It's obvious. He's a valuable player in this game, and I appreciate what he has brought to this Timberwolves team. Johnny Flynn Memorial, absolutely. Like I said, it's Carl and Tom Thibodeau with a bullet this past week. And Shabazz Muhammad even had a double-digit game against Miami, and he was okay this week, but generally speaking, he drew a DNP Wednesday night against the New Orleans Pelicans. He's just, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. He's in, he's out. His defense is non-existent, but occasionally his offense is above average. He's just kind of okay. And I know Vince Germano likes him a lot. He'd sure love him on the Lakers. And I know he mentioned he'd like to see Shabazz Muhammad work with Kobe Bryant in the offseason, and he probably should, obviously, as long as Kobe wants to do it. And I would hope Shabazz Muhammad would welcome that idea if Kobe was willing to do that with him. But, that would be great. With that, though, let's wrap things up. This was getting a little bit long here, so we're going to preview 4 games in the second segment and, of course, get to you, the fan interaction, in segment number 3. Who? What? Why? Where? Oh, just leave me alone. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2, preview segment, 4 games to preview. I might have said 3 a couple times because I'm just goofball, but yeah, okay. Well, the Wolves head to OKC. We seem to love playing the Oklahoma City Thunder on Fridays, and that's cool. I'm fine with that. As for the Oklahoma City Thunder, well, told you so. Did I say the Oklahoma City Thunder might implode with this addition of Carmelo Anthony? Oh, Carmelo, oh my God. Oh boy. This team is going to explode. They're going to just be the best team in the league. They might even take on that stupid team that plays in Northern California that I'm sick and tired of. Yeah, go everybody else. Okay, well, maybe not the Thunder either, but they're in last place in the Northwest Division. The Wolves are, believe it or not, we're kind of tangoing with Portland and Denver. That's kind of weird, but yeah, even Utah's not doing so good. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that Utah's not doing real well either. Oh, just aches my heart. Oh, boy, I feel so bad for... No, I don't, actually. I really don't care. Oklahoma City Thunder, they are 8-12 on the season. They've already had 12 losses. So much for your 70-win season, Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook, he's almost averaging a triple-double still. He's leading the team in points, rebounds, and assists. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yes, so credit is given to Russell Westbrook. He's a mean SOB. He's kind of nice, sort of, sometimes behind the scenes. At least I think he is. He seems like it when he's interviewed. Seems like a lot more pleasant guy. He's just one of those guys. He's court angry, and God bless him. And maybe that court anger gets the best of him sometimes. And whatever. We know who the Thunder are. They're a very talented team that is underachieving right now, including guys like Raymond Felton. Whoa, Raymond Felton, Mr. Underachiever, that's for sure. The Wolves match up pretty good with this team. We've done well against the Oklahoma City Thunder thus far, so why not continue that trend? There's no reason to not believe the Wolves can't beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. As we remember, early back in the beginning of the season, in late October, the Timberwolves beat Oklahoma City twice. Remember, I was thinking the Wolves would split that group, and I was thinking that was optimistic at the time because Oklahoma City was looked on to be a pretty good team. Well, kind of. And the Wolves swept them, of course, October 22nd, 115-113. And then about a week later, 119-116, the Wolves beat Oklahoma City. Very entertaining games. That's why it's a fun matchup. It just is. And I think the Wolves can do it again. I mean, don't be surprised if the Wolves lose this game as well. I mean, it's kind of a back-and-forth feeling. Oklahoma City's ever beatable, but they're ever dangerous, that type of thing. Obviously, the talent's there. That anybody could go off on any given night because that's just, again, that's how it goes when you have talent of that level. They're going to figure it out at some point, kind of like how the Miami Heat are and such, especially back in the Alonzo Mourning days. It was kind of like that, where maybe they'd underachieve for a while and then they'd kind of get back in the swing of things. early on, like the first game, nobody really stood out. Jimmy Butler had, 15 points or so. Next time around, I mean, both games were fun. Of course, the first one was on the road, second at home. I expect Jimmy Butler to continue his trend. I would like to see Towns work down low. Of course, Steven Adams is a headache, and obviously he's one of the he's one of the tough guys in the league. Of course, somebody a lot of teams would love to have. Sometimes he gets hurt once in a while, but generally he stays in there. Tough, strong defender from New Zealand. That's where Tanae Brown is. We'll hear from him in segment number 3. He's talking about this upcoming schedule. As remember back in the day in the Flip Saunders era, December was always a good month to the Wolves, and I think this one could be as well when you look at this schedule. It's very pivotal because you're seeing a little Portland and Denver a few times, Phoenix, teams like that. Beatable teams, but you got to win those games, though. You can talk about how beatable they are all we want, but again, you got to come back and win. I expect Jimmy Butler to be the top player for the Wolves, the top scorer. So far, he's been the main guy against this club. The second game was very entertaining. It was Butler's first breakout game, 25-point performance. I expect more of the same from him. And, of course, Wiggins, again, that improving defense. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'd like to see Towns to get back to that shot-blocking aggressive style during the course of this week. I'm expecting an interesting matchup with the Clippers as the Wolves play the Clippers twice coming up. But, again, on Friday, December the 1st, tonight, the Timberwolves will play the Oklahoma City Thunder. I expect oh boy, this one's really tough. The Wolves kind of had these back and forth type of games. Impressive win in New Orleans, but remember what it was. I think the Wolves will win this game. I think the Wolves will beat the Oklahoma City Thunder and thus win the season series. So they'll have won 3 games. That officially gives them the season series victory. Jimmy Butler, most likely guy to lead the team in scoring, but again, obviously major keys along the way. Would love to see Jeff Teague back, but I think Tyus Jones will have an interesting matchup with Russell Westbrook. It'll be cool to see how Tyus Jones can do. Can he keep poking that ball away and frustrate Russell Westbrook, maybe into a technical foul or something? That would be kind of cool. Minnesota's going to win a close one. It's going to be a close, fun Friday night for the Wolves. 110 to 109. 110 to 109. Winning shot will go to dun dun dun. Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is going to hit the game-winning shot. I was about to say Butler, but it's going to be Wiggins. How about that? Do you like that idea? Sound like fun? Well, it's going to be fun, damn it, because the Wolves are going to win the game. That's what matters for me. So, yes, the Wolves will win the game. 110-109. Let's move on. Minnesota hosts the LA Clippers on December the 3rd. Blake Griffin recently injured MCL sprain. He's expected to miss like 2 months or so, about that range. It sounds about right for an MCL sprain, not an ACL, of course. Yeah, the Clippers, they're okay. They're just they've had ups and downs. They've had hot starts. They've had weak starts. And this year they're 8-11 and presenting absolutely no competition for the Northern Cal team. This is the Southern Cal team, I suppose. Everybody's from California in this division except the Phoenix Suns. Heck, even the Suns have 8 wins, but still, 15 losses. It's just crazy. 4 California teams. That's nuts. 2 Southern Cal, 2 Northern Cal. Yeah. Lou Williams, Luke, is actually leading the team in scoring at the moment with Blake Griffin being out. Austin Rivers has had an okay season. Danilo Gallinari, he's always hurt. But, of course, he'll probably play in this one because he always does against the Wolves, and he always seems to play well against this club. I'm going to pick, this is going to be a fun week, I think, for the Wolves, because really, frankly, other than that doggone Mickey frickin' DeAndre Jordan, the Wolves, there's no excuse they need to win this game. I mean, it's not Willis Reed, it's Willie Reed, and it's Wesley Johnson. Wesley Johnson, not Magic Johnson. Yeah, Patrick Beverly, he's frustrating, this and that, but he's always hurt, too. The Wolves need to win this game. And, of course, you get Old Fizzywig's former team there. Old Fizzywig, he's already out of Memphis. That's the next night, back-to-back. But there's no reason the Wolves shouldn't beat the Memphis Grizzlies. And if they do, well, that can't be good. The Clippers are winners of 3 in a row. But, again, Atlanta, Sacramento, and L.A. Well, seriously, Atlanta, Sacramento, and L.A.? Lottie freaking da. I mean, like, whoop-de-doo. So, and of course, Utah as well. No excuse, actually 4 in a row, pardon me, as they just beat Utah last night. The Wolves need to win this game. It's the only guy I'm really afraid of is DeAndre Jordan. Sometimes Danilo Gallinari, because he can really scorch that three conveniently against the Wolves, though this year he's shooting 26%. He's attempting the same amount he always has, but again, 26%. Don't be surprised if he magically has like the game of his season now, because he always does against the Wolves, and it's really annoying. But I'll still pick the Wolves to win the game. It should be a solid win, something of the likes of. I mean, when the Wolves play well, they score. They score points. When they're not scoring, you hope that the defense shows up, because if it doesn't, they're going to get blown right out of the gym. I expect an offensive game, of course, once again, because you can keep coming back and forth to that. The Clippers' defense, well, it's supposed to be good, and you have DeAndre Jordan, who's probably the best defender there is pretty much right now. Him and Marc Gasol are like two of the best defensive centers in the NBA. Dwight Howard is supposed to be, but sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. Sometimes he's just hurt. I'm going to pick something like, it'll be moderately high scoring, like 108-98. I think the Wolves beat the Clippers with a pretty decent score. Maybe sink some free throws, kind of wrap things up, finish things up. The Wolves need to beat the Clippers in this game. It's the first matchup between the Wolves and the Clippers this season with their somewhat fancy new logo they got a couple years back. Leading scorer for the Wolves, usually it would have been Zach LaVine in the past. Obviously, he's with Chicago right now and just starting to come back with a 3-15 club. Of course, they're off to a horrible start. We'll talk about them whenever we play them. It won't be for a while yet, not until 2018. So, oh well there. 108-98. The Wolves win by 10. Leading scorer should be Andrew Wiggins. I like Andrew Wiggins against the Clippers. I think you'll see a nice, exciting game, especially the ESPN one coming up as we play the Clippers again on the 6th. So I won't have to talk about the Clippers as much. Let's get to the Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, Hank McCoy, Mr. Wayne Hunt. Yes, 7-13. Old Fizzy Wig is gone. And him and apparently Marc Gasol not getting along so well, and things have changed. Of course, just like what happened in Phoenix. Bledsoe and Watson. And it wasn't John Watson, it's Earl Watson. It didn't work out so well there either. Memphis Grizzlies, well, they have lost 5 in a row. They've struggled in a big way. They are just continuing to fall off the face of the earth right now. Remember, last year the Wolves opened the season against the Grizzlies twice and lost both of them. They're so close and so frustrating. JaMychal Green has only played 8 games this year, but God, is he a pain in the ass if he's healthy and ready to go against the Wolves. Marc Gasol manhandles Karl Anthony Towns all the time, but it's a different vibe right now in Memphis. Tyreek Evans is actually having a nice little resurgence there, but is it because he's playing well, or because he's just, there by necessity at this stage? His field goal percentage has been outstanding, though, for a guy who's been erratic in the past. He's been outstanding, to be quite frank. Yes, I'm using a Canadian accent. Almost 50%. I'm not from Canada. Almost 50% from the floor overall, 42% from beyond the arc, and he's been making his shots. Mike Conley has had an off year for the most part, and from the three-point range, he'd been red hot in the past. This year, only about 31%, still managing 17 points a game, but not much of a flow in the offense, as his assists are way down to about 4 a game. You got crazy people like Mario Chalmers, overpaid contracts like Chandler, Bleepin' Parsons, who's only playing about 20 minutes a game. Are they paying him that much money to be a 6-man? I guess, and I can understand why Hank McCoy is extremely frustrated with that contract. Ben McLemore, there's another bust who's floated around, oft injured. Yeah, I mean, the Wolves need to win this game. This team gives up points, kind of, sort of. I mean, they're not as good defensively as they were in the past. They're not that bad either, though. At the same time, they've stayed in games, but they've lost games. Of course, like a 1-point loss to Dallas on November 22nd, that's got to sting. In other games, they've stayed within 10 points in most of their games, but end up losing at the end of the day. And that's the bottom line, the loss column. And I hope and pray the Wolves put the Memphis Grizzlies in the loss column in this one. It is a back-to-back. Sunday the 3rd and Monday the 4th. Monday the 4th against the Memphis Grizzlies, the Timberwolves. Well, this should be the Wolves' 4th win in a row if all goes well. And yeah, it sounds kind of, homerish in a sense. But again, this should be the Wolves' 4th win in a row. Just like you're going to hear from Tanae about the upcoming schedule in December. I truly believe, I truly agree with that, because these are beatable teams for the most part. Obviously, Philadelphia scares me a little bit about a week from, so that's Tuesday the 12th, we'll say. but about a week from the Memphis game. That one scares me, even though it's a home game. This and that, because the Wolves have lost quite a few home games this year. home, road, whatever it is. The Wolves, luckily, though, still hanging into playoff position. They'd be 5th in the Western Conference at the moment. Well, I mean, if I pick a loss here, I might as well pick the Wolves to be one of the worst teams in the league right now because Memphis is reeling. So the Wolves will win the basketball game. I'm kind of thinking something a little lower scoring, actually. A little bit. Something of the likes of 98 to 90. 98 to 90. The Wolves, they kind of sort of squeak it out. Memphis hangs in there for the longest time. They go on runs. They take a lead here and there into the third, even in the fourth quarter on occasion. But the Wolves pull away and finish off a team that's not playing well right now. Probably not going so well in the locker room either. Just watch out for that Tyreek Evans, damn it. It's about Jimmy Butler frustrating Tyreek Evans. Hopefully Tyreek is pushed into some bad mistakes. He's been very good this year. Only 2 turnovers a game for a guy who's been so erratic throughout his career. Former Rookie of the Year, if you can believe it, as literally like right after that, he just went ooh, a lot like OJ Mayo years ago. His best season was his rookie year, was OJ Mayo. Same thing for Tyreek Evans, but he's doing good for the Memphis Grizzlies of late, for the most part. He's been hanging in there, so good on him. Maybe Hank McCoy would disagree in a big way, but Wolves win a final score of 98 to 90. Of course, Carl, you're going to hope he can have a solid performance against Marc Gasol, knock the ball away, this and that, because Marc Gasol has frustrated Karl Anthony Towns throughout pretty much that matchup's history to this date. That's my fear coming into the game. If the Wolves lose, it'd be because Marc Gasol went off and pretty much obliterated Karl Anthony Towns. Karl just needs to continue to stay down low if possible. Those, if anybody's good at the baby hook shot, it's Karl Anthony Towns. He puts up a really good one, better than Pekovic in the past. Even though he would make his too, but it got old. You like the aggressiveness, all that kind of stuff. Some mid-range shooting from Karl as well, maybe off the glass, little Tim Duncan style. But best of all would be the aggressiveness, and of course, alley-oop feeds from either Tyus Jones, Jimmy Butler, or of course, if Jeff Teague is healthy, that would pretty much seal the deal for the Timberwolves in the Memphis game, if that sore Achilles can heal. I've been there and done that. In fact, pretty much the whole summer doing lawns, the Achilles tendon gets off and on soreness. It's not fun. Oh, man. So it's usually the left one, but sometimes it's the right one, too. It's pretty weird. So the Clippers again on the 6th. That's DeAndre Jordan's number, and I kind of think the Clippers are going to win. It's a primetime game. Well, kind of primetime. It's actually late, so primetime in L.A., I guess. One of those fun West Coast ESPN games. I like them, and I think Andrew Wiggins is going to go off for 30-something in the game. I think Andrew's going to have his big game. Winnable game for the Wolves. Somehow I see the Clippers edging us, though, 104, 103, something like that, 105, 104. DeAndre Jordan is one of those 20-20 type games, and you just get mad and pissed off. Very winnable game, but the Wolves have a tough time in Clipperland. The Clippers always seem to escape, except when Kevin Love hit that long three on ESPN that was a while ago, 5-6 years ago. That was a while, 2011, I believe. Yeah, I think that was after the lockout. Yeah, it was way back, late, early, I don't remember, 11, 12, something like that, or was it 12, 13? I think it was 11, 12, back when the Wolves are just starting to look good in the Kevin Love and Ricky Rubio days. That was fun. Rubio's rookie year, if I remember correctly. Love hit that nice three-pointer. And did his come to me children pose, basically, is what he did. But I think the Wolves lose by 1 point. I think the Clippers edge the Wolves, something of the likes, again, like DeAndre Jordan. Maybe he'll sink some free throws, if you can believe that. Down the stretch, there'll probably be a little hack of Jordan, and then it'll work sometimes, but not work when it matters at the end of the game, and the Clippers will win 105-104, and the winning streak ends. And then the Wolves take a 3-day break, and then host the Dallas Mavericks on the 10th, and we'll talk about that in the next episode of Timberwolves Explosion. But I'm predicting a 3-1 week and some pretty fun performances out of the likes of Andrew Wiggins and Jimmy Butler. And again, you hope the Karl Anthony Towns can, he's got to get those jitters out of him against these veteran big men. He's just got to get better, and he's going to get tested big time throughout this week. Of course, Steven Adams with Oklahoma City, twice with DeAndre Jordan, not Andre Jordan, and once also with Marc Gasol, who's probably the worst of all. Carl has been tested, and he has been tested time and time again, and he was tested time and time again all last season against these guys, particularly early in the season. These are pivotal games, and if the Wolves can go 3-1, I don't think a whole lot of you are going to be complaining, especially if it includes a 4-game winning streak. So, cool. Maybe you can frustrate DeAndre Jordan into ejection. Gorgui Dieng will obviously be extremely important in all these games, of course. You want to see continued performances from Gorgui Dieng. Of course, Taj Gibson, we know what he can do. He can keep being that consistent double-double machine he's been all season. But if Gorgui can add, that is just a massive bonus. And we know what Gorgui can do. And he showed us what he's capable of the last 3-4 years, and we finally saw it from him again against the New Orleans Pelicans, and it drew some frustration out of Anthony Davis. It wasn't just Gorgui, it was Carl, Gorgui, everything. So back and forth type of situation there. Of course, Carl wasn't getting calls he wanted, that type of deal. Some days the refs make calls, some days the refs don't make calls, and then certain players that get huge contracts start flipping out, or players that will get big contracts like Carl start flipping out and expecting calls on every play. And you know what? I think Carl gets screwed hardcore. I don't disagree with any of you young people here, young and old people that think Carl gets screwed, young, old, and middle-aged. That Carl gets screwed with a lot of the non-calls inside. But he can't get every call, and not a single player in the NBA does get every call. That's why Anthony Davis got ejected from the game, because he couldn't handle it. So it is what it is there. Big test this week coming up for Karl Anthony Towns. But again, Gorgui. X factor this week against all these big players, particularly Clipperland, I think, more than anything. But Memphis, sure, it'd be a bonus, especially when you have a guy like JaMychal Green who's torched and damaged and battered the Wolves over the last year or so. Oh, that's a guy I would love the Wolves to have, but of course he was a restricted free agent going in the summer, and, well, he's a Memphis Grizzly. So with that, we will take a break and get to fan interaction right after this. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, third segment. Hello. Time to hear from you guys here in the fan interaction segment. Let's go to @WolvesExplosion for the Twitter account. Please give this Twitter a follow and interact with me, damn it. I want to thank Levi and Tanae for retweeting the show. Also, Vince Germano, thank you very much for that. Retweeting the last show. Predictable, right? That's what I called it, episode 209. Oh, and by the way, you probably aren't seeing it on the iTunes right now. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show because it's been going on for a couple of days. There's no logo right now because there's been a logo change. Those of you have probably noticed it on the Twitter account and on the Facebook page. I want to thank Hank McCoy / of course, Wayne Hunt. I keep calling him Hank McCoy, but it's really Wayne Hunt. I can't get it out of my system, Wayne. I cannot get it out of my system for you. You're just always Hank McCoy to me now. Look what you've done. Look what you've done. But no, wonderful logo. Look what he's done indeed. Kind of, I would call it Super Nintendo graphics, not NES graphics. Super Nintendo works just fine. Second favorite game system of all time. The NES is my all-time favorite game system. Yes, 8-bit. Yes, people call this 8-bit. No, I would say that's a 16-bit logo. It looks like a Super Nintendo graphic, which, no problem with that. That's my second favorite game system of all time, and it probably has the best role-playing games ever. Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, and 5 also, which didn't come to the U.S. until much later, but on different systems, but of course the same game, but moved into the CDs because of, modernizing. Oh, I just love modern stuff. No, actually, modern stuff is good, but not certain things. Okay, you already know what that is. So we'll move on. Those of you that know me, I get just kind of bitchy. So Levi Brown out of New Zealand says, no Thanksgiving here, but want to give thanks to my favorite content creators who've provided hours of entertainment to me, and I was on that list. Wolves Explosion. This is Levi Brown, the older brother of Tanae Brown, who is a Timberwolves Explosion Hall of Famer, and Levi's working his way up that chart in a hurry. In fact, he's already just about there. Oh, Metal Jesus Rocks is one of them, so that's Retro Gaming, I believe. Retro Gaming YouTube, so cool to see him in there. The rest of them, nah, I'm not really heard of them. Some of them are modern games, which I'm not really into modern stuff very much. Cinemassacre, wow, there you go. That's the angry video game nerd. Hey, there you go. Now we're talking retro for the most part. And of course, he's a Cinemassacre. James Rolfe, he's a year younger than me, from New Jersey, from Hyrule, New Jersey. Hyrule. Do you realize what Hyrule is? Yeah, that's kind of funny. And as for Zelda, I don't really go beyond the Super Nintendo and Game Boy era. Of course, NES rocks. Those are the best games ever, like Zelda on NES. You know, all you guys with your Switch and your 64 and your GameCube and your, what was the one, Wii? The Zelda games on that just do nothing for me. Three-dimensional Zelda? Nah, man. Get back to the sprites, two-dimensional, and a bird's eye view, whatever, or even the side-scrolling Zelda 2, and we feel just great. So, yeah, bouncing off of a topic a tiny bit, but hey, look what you done, Levi, look what you done. But it's fun. I like retro games, and of course, that was cool. So a lot of people responding to it, that it showed up in my Twitter feed, but that's fine. They don't even know who I am because they don't care about me. It hurt my feelings. It just hurts. Nobody cares, damn it, right? Nobody cares about Wolves Explosion, damn it. It's all about your game reviews, you sons of biscuits. Okay, that's fine. Today Brown says, you guys take some tough shots. Did I call him Today Brown? It's Vince Germano. I'm sorry, Vince Germano. What am I doing? Lakers, Pies, Browns, Vinrock44, at Vinrock44. That is a Timberwolves Explosion Hall of Famer. First ballot right there. And, of course, part of the Courtside Podcast Hall of Fame there as well. Wayne Hunt, Vince Germano, Stu Benson. That is as good a podcast as there is on the planet. Podbean. There's the Podbean application. Of course, iTunes, all the free shows go on there. And then if you want to get Podbean, you get the free ones on there too. But you can also get the premium shows. Just pay $20 a year. Not $20 a show, $20 a year. That is the Courtside Network, which I did mention at the beginning of the show. And yeah, we'll see. Purple Mafia. And no, Timberwolves Explosion will be on there. Who knows? Maybe Purple Mafia one day later on. But I'm really going crazy here. Where was I? Yes, we take some tough shots. Yeah, we do. Andrew Wiggins, that's been a source of frustration for Wolves fans for the last 3 years or so. He started doing that in his second year. It seemed like his first year, Andrew was attacking that basket, and man, he would have those clutch games, and it was so much fun. And I was just, and then he started taking these weird two-point shots, and, they're low percentage. And it's not just because they're a low percentage shot, it's that he's not that good at them. Sometimes the fadeaway, okay, but statistically, he's shooting about 30% when he puts up those long twos. About 30%. That's the analytics out there, if you know what I mean. That's where you modernize statistics a little bit. The analytics, those long twos, he's shooting about 30%, 29% or so. Not good. And Mr. Tom Thibodeau, I love you and everything, but come on, man. Come on. Tom Thibodeau's better than that. Tanae Brown says, Tyus wants to be a starter. He is quoting a tweet from Kay Sang that says Tyus Jones has now played 101 straight minutes without a single turnover. 101 as the starting point guard. He has 15 assists, 10 steals, and zilch turnovers. Exceptional play by Tyus. Yeah, and that's why Tyus Jones was the Alpha Wolf winner for this show. He absolutely deserved it. It was not Karl Anthony Towns in his 32-point game. That's good. I appreciate that. Keep him coming. But then when you're parking on that freaking perimeter, I mean, I'm sorry, we're not going to win a championship with Karl Anthony Towns parking on the perimeter hoping for a little catch and shoot action. It's nice. I love the catch and shoot. But that's not Karl's game. Sometimes here and there, like I talked about on the last show, a momentum shot, you're kind of a run and gun situation, momentum shot. You're coming back or you're building a big lead. You're on a run right now. It's a momentum shot. The old he's on fire type of situation, like say the Wolves are on an 8-0 run. We get a turnover. We're going up the court. A little bounce pass to Karl, catch, shoot, bam, because nobody's there anywhere near him. And it's a momentum shot. All of a sudden it's an 11-point game, or maybe it's a game-tying shot with like 30 seconds left. Then we can go crazy, as Prince would say, at Minnesota Wild games. All that good stuff. And yeah, let's go crazy. Gotta love that. Let's wrap up the Twitter section with Tanae Brown. He says, looking at our schedule for December, Wolves have a good chance at going on a decent winning streak. Yes, sir. Need consistency on D, though, and that's for damn sure. That's a gold star comment there. Need consistency on D. That's a given. Absolutely. If the Wolves are going to have a winning month of December, they need to be more consistent on defense. And yeah, obviously Karl Anthony Towns. Hopefully Wiggins can continue to bring it. And Jimmy Butler, for the most part, is the best defender on the team. So nice thoughts tonight. Thank you always for that. Hope to hear audio submission again one of these days. I miss it. Let's give a quick shout out to the Flips Army Facebook page. Flips Army. I want to thank Trevor Wickerin for allowing me to post links to Timberwolves Explosion on that page. Greatly appreciated. Always. As now we slide to the Facebook page of Timberwolves Explosion. It is facebook.com/Wolves Explosion. Facebook.com/Wolves Explosion. Or Timberwolves Explosion, pardon me. Wolves Explosion is Twitter. It's Timberwolves Explosion. All this information will be in the show description. So, yes, there's the new logo. We'll hear some responses in a minute here. The recent episode, nothing there. I was saying how coming into the game with Miami, the Wolves again, minus 15.4 in the fourth quarter, which is 30th in the league. Yeah, horrendous. Luke Rasmussen, locally here in town, I believe Minneapolis, he says they somehow still win, though. And I was saying certainly not all of them, especially Detroit. And Luke says true. Yeah, back and forth there. Thank you, Luke Rasmussen. Hopefully he's a listener. I'm not sure, though. Let's see what people have to say about the logo. Sebastian Barton says 8-pixel type stuff fits you. Thank you. Nicholas Simon out of Australia says love it. Thank you very much. And, of course, lots of likes along the way from Nicholas Simon. Nate Lindholm, Levi Brown, Brandon Dombowski, I believe out of South Dakota. Yep, I remember. Yeah, man, he's one of those loyal listeners who's out there. You know, don't hear from him super often, but a great guy. Brenton Cunningham, Australia. Yep, could go on. Aaron Morris, locally, St. Louis Park. Yeah, very cool. Nate Lindholm's local, of course, as well. Sebastian Barton is from Mankato, Minnesota. Trish Postorino. Man, I haven't heard from the Postorinos in forever. Hope you're still out there. And yes, Wayne Hunt, thank you again. Great job. He puts on the side there, the original and the best T-Wolves show. And that's true. It is the original and the best T-Wolves show. There have been some weeds that have popped up over the years, and I'm calling them exactly what they are, weeds. They're trying to choke me out. I'm the oak tree, they're the weeds. You can't be coming in and trying to choke out this oak tree, because this oak tree isn't going anywhere. Timberwolves Explosion has been around since August 2008. And I've been a loyal fan and follower of this team since 91, and you could argue even before that, but more aggressively since 91. So where do we start here? From Vince Germano, he says, would love to come on TE at some stage, mate, to chat about Jimmy Butler. And yeah, I want to have Vince on as well, even if it's like for a segment, though. Like, we'll have like we could just do a segment too if it's not the whole show, if that's easier for your schedule, my schedule, that, like a 20-minute segment, something like that. There's always that, so that would be fun. Wayne Hunt says, don't do it, Joey, it's a trap. And then you have a couple of pictures there. What is it, Wayne's World? That's funny. That figures, Wayne's World. Mr. Votto posting, are you mental? And then Dan May, also out of Australia, saying, it's a trap. Yep. That's Star Trek The Next Generation, I believe. Yep. Those characters were Star Trek Generation, those little fish-like characters. That was in episode season 2, because I remember the 1 year where Dr. Beverly Crusher was not the doctor on that ship. It was that other older lady, because I believe the actress was pregnant that year. I believe that's circa 1988, back in the day. So that son of a gun would be Steph Curry's age, the person that was born from the actress that played Dr. Beverly Crusher there. So yes, there it is. Wayne Hunt wraps up the Facebook section saying, hey, Joey, loved the last episode. No disrespect to the forecaster, but you are the show. Thank you. And I really do appreciate that. I miss Buckets the forecaster, but no, I mean, I'm the editor. You could say the audio engineer, so to speak, the producer, all that good stuff, the chairman of the board, all that. So yes, it's a one-man show. Almost every podcast out there has a permanent co-host that they can count on being there. Maybe they'll miss a week here and there once in a while, but not like, some people, for me, I've had a hell of a time getting a consistent co-host on anything. And you know what? It's easier for me to just do it myself, frankly. It's hard to keep up with schedules, and I don't know. It just is what it is. Let's move on. Wayne says, time to update the iTunes picture, mate. I mocked this up for you today, but wanted to challenge any other listener out there to do the same. bringing the insight to the Timberwolves team. And thank you indeed for that, Wayne Hunt. And yeah, people are welcome to do their own artwork too, and we can kind of banter around. I mean, shoot, nothing wrong with it, but I'll definitely accept this graciously, Wayne Hunt. I will graciously accept this. The issue, though, with iTunes, getting it up on iTunes, was the size of the picture needs to be larger, which is weird considering how small the picture is when it's actually on iTunes. So I don't know, but I guess it's what makes the picture look good on iTunes, because then you can actually see it. Then it's not too dinky looking, I suppose, when it's shrank down into the iTunes box picture. So that's just kind of what that is. Still waiting on that from Hank McCoy. I hope it hasn't been too much of a headache or anything. Obviously, Hank McCoy / Wayne Hunt, very busy guy, so understandable. I've been there and done that too, and overtime's coming. Obviously, the lawn cleanups are done, so that's why I'm back here recording on regular days again. But yeah, there's overtime, and like Vince Germano has told me in the past, you can't turn down that cheese. Yes. When you're offered overtime, you have to accept it, especially, if you want to get ahead of teeny tiny bits once in a while or stay above water, that type of thing. So that's life. Life is life. So if there's ever a week where I miss a show or something, that's because, maybe too much overtime, too tired, or not feeling good, whatever it is. So hopefully none of that happens, though. I've been pretty good about keeping up, God willing. So thanks again for listening. Please do tell your friends about the show. It is greatly appreciated. Please give a positive rating on iTunes, if you could, about Timberwolves Explosion. There's also the phone lines, 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention you're calling in for Timberwolves Explosion, and do your statement, shout-out, comment, question, all that good stuff. Opine. On that phone line, it is a 3-minute limit. It is a voicemail. It's literally a voicemail. So again, that's a 3-minute limit for that. There's the call now button on the Facebook page. Goes to the same number through Facebook Messenger, so it's free no matter where you are. I've said 100 times, even if you're on the International Space Station, as long as there's Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter where you are, because the internet is the internet. As long as it works, it goes through, and there it is. It's not long distance or anything. And then there's the other route, which there is no limit, but I prefer it's not like a half hour unless I'm literally inviting you to do a segment on the show, which certain people do have the green light to do that. I would say Hank McCoy, Vince Germano, and Tanae Brown absolutely have that green light, if ever. Like if it's some kind of a premium, like State of the Timberwolves type show, or God only knows what, but anything, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. Otherwise, keep it to about 5. There's an audio submission route, like I'm mentioning. This is where you use if you're going to do it on a laptop, use Audacity, whatever, and then turn it into an MP3. Email it to me at paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. Otherwise, if you're using your smart device, smartphone, whatever it is, there's free voice recorders in every single one of them, and you just use that, treat it like a phone call, and then email it to the same email address I just mentioned, paladinolive@yahoo.com. Again, that will be right there in the show description for you to copy and paste, all for your convenience, and so I can hear your voice with mine on here, which should be greatly appreciated. That way you can be kind of a co-host, just like you guys in fan interaction. You're kind of like helping me as being a co-host in a sense. So thank you again in advance, always, for everything. And I will again give anybody who gives a positive rating for Timberwolves Explosion on iTunes or Stitcher a shout out on the air. Gracious, a big giant thank you and a gold star on this show. So thanks again. We will talk to you in about a week, in a week. Hopefully the Wolves can go 3-1, if not 4-0. Until then, take care, and we'll see you soon.